Good evening, and thanks for joining us for our fourth installment of Ancient Reality TV, St. Augustine's public access variety show produced by us for you, our viewers.
For tonight's lineup, we explore the rich Gullah Geechee culture with historian Griffin Lawson. Head down south to cover a rocket launch and debut a surf edit featuring Milano's local rippers.
We are your hosts, Michael and Brooke Ashley. Come along with us!
Let's start the show with our good friend Griffin Lawson, who shares a little bit of his extensive knowledge of the Gullah Geechee culture with us.
It's very important, the land and the sea, especially when we think of West Africa and we look east, and knowing the only thing that separates us from our motherland is water. And I still remember the first time I experienced that from a place similar to here, and looking over the waters, no buildings, no lands, no countries, just water. And we were brought here to the shores of St. Augustine, or to Florida area, in Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina, which we're so rich with the history of what we call Gullah Geechee. We're the only culture in America that has its birth out of something called slavery. As horrific as something as slavery was, a culture was birthed. A lot of our traditions we brought from West Africa. When they brought the enslaved over, it was a lot of different languages. And of course, on the slave ships and then on the plantations, you've got to learn to live together. So, for whatever reason, the Gullah and the Geechee surfaced to the top. I consider myself a historian and a seventh generation Gullah Geechee, so I go way back. One of the major things with the 21st century Gullah Geechee, going back to the antebellum period, was different. We didn't own any land. Very important thing to us that we own land, because for whatever reason, it's the Mother Earth that we all must go back to. Plants, very significant when you talk about the plants, mostly the herbs. We're very good in identifying certain things from the herbal family. So whenever I travel, I always look like I'm looking in the yard and I'm seeing things. Maybe I'll see a herb here. Sassafras. Fascinating thing about that is one of the few plants that have 3 different leaves that's growing on one tree. And here in Florida, it is the Spanish moss, which is famous here in St. Augustine, Florida, and then the Florida or Georgia ball moss. We also have what we call life everlasting. And it grows during this very special time of year when the flu and the cold season comes in. That's when it's its highest. Mullet. That was for the healing of the respiratory. We would use that for a tea. You also could put it on your chest. sheep soil, as I call it. Um, uh, Romex, I think is the medical term for it. It grows wild, and we used to get it as children and suck the juice out of it because it was kind of sweet and we didn't have money as children. So we'd just grab it on the side of the road and suck the juice of it. Then that's for detoxing. It also has cancer-fighting agencies within it. And the doctors have researched all of these things and found out, wow, it does have some things for cleaning the body, and it has cancer-fighting agencies in it. So, but it's less practice. These are real things that we have used. I've used it, the root doctor side of it, and the root worker side of it. Now, when you speak of the root doctor, it's the same as a regular doctor, but it deals with the herbs and the roots that's within the ground. We believe in the root doctor because that keeps us healed. We use those roots for medicine. Then the root worker, then you get into a little bit of the folklore of the hoodoo, certain herbs growing a certain way. There's a formula to tell you whether something's good is going on or something bad. That's the root worker. If you have an enemy, you can use certain formulas to get rid of an enemy. And also you can use certain things to bring good things. I like to tell the one about the black snake. If the black snake have a root in its mouth, then that's a chances are great that that particular root or that particular vine that it has is something that can be good for the healing of the body. You can say hoodoo, we would say root worker, because we can use those roots to do things. You go to the grave site and you can get some grave dust, and you would take that grave dust and you would mostly blow that on a person. Usually with the blowing of the grave dust on individuals, that's usually may not be a good thing. But you can collect the grave dust also and make a potion out of it to make good things happen for you. So the hoodoo comes from more of the Louisiana type of hoodoo and the dolls, voodoo dolls and things. So the culture clashes together there a little bit. And keep in mind, a lot of the enslaved that work here from Gullah Geechee country, St. Augustine and down through Georgia and in South Carolina and North Carolina, was also traded through the slave trade to Louisiana area. So the cultures clash. It's mostly handed down. Like most culture is handed down from one generation to the next. It is transferred to a faithful person that believes in you. And then that knowledge is transferred over. That elder would find somebody or know of somebody that's really interested. And if they sense that that person can carry that knowledge on, they seek them out. And then they train them the ways of their parents. And they carry on that tradition. So that's what makes you qualify to be a root worker or a root doctor. And you learn those ways and you keep them alive. And the elder always knows who to pass it on to and when is the time to start passing it on, because not any of us are going to live forever. I still remember myself with my mother's aunt, and she would always tell the old stories, and they would use these words: I'm probably not going to be around, but I want to tell you now, so they kind of let you know that I'm going to leave one day, but I want you to take this serious. And they sit on the porch and they tell those stories. And that's another big thing about the Gullah Geechee culture. We love our storytelling. So it's passed on that way. So, but you know who to pass it to, and that's what I do.
'Cause I'm going home to live with my God. Said I to see my dear mother. Oh,
What a cool guy. I think we could all use a little bit of those herbs during this crisis. Thanks, Griffin.
Some mullein certainly does sound like exactly what the root doctor ordered. Mickey was able to capture our talented local surfers on what was the first storm swell of the hurricane season, Tropical Storm Arthur. Let's take a look.
we did have a good run of surf leading up to our annual summertime flat spell. Too bad you can't surf the dust. So,
Wait, do you know what time it is?
I don't know what time.
It's
Bell time!
And that was Bell time.
Our next segment is a unique one because somehow it's live and you are in it and you're in Cocoa Beach. So, I don't know.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a connection down there with me. Bob? We are coming to you live from Space Coast. Today marks history where for the first time in over a decade, humans will depart from American Earth soil to their final destination of space. They will be launching from the Space Extreme Dragon 9 rocket ship. As you can see, we can't really see much from here, so let's take a closer look. We have just received word that we are 5 minutes away from launch. Thankfully, where we're situated, we do have a spectacular view, but this must be our lucky day. The capsule is still open for viewing. Let's take an even closer look. This is really something incredible. And I am no rocket scientist, but I would like to remind viewers that I myself did attend space camp in the 5th grade, so I don't think that technology has advanced that much for rockets and shuttles, etc. And if I do remember correctly, this right here would be the blast off button.